Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another educational yet heartwarming episode of #Blessed. I wanted to talk about my previous two videos and what happened subsequently because I posted them, I truly believe. The last two videos were, one, a strong rebuke against the woke church and their response to Jeff Durbin, and then also, the most recent video I just posted was talking about the two witnesses in the book of Revelation and the persecution that the Christians and the Jews have been facing in New York and throughout the world. Since I have posted those videos, I have lost a handful of my subscribers, which for a small YouTube channel like myself can be devastating. So I wanted to go into why I believe what I do regarding the two witnesses, so that you understand that it's not heresy or that I'm just coming up with my own facts, when in fact they are in the Word. So I ask that you stay tuned, and as a disclaimer, there's going to be a lot of reading here, a lot of verses, so I would appreciate that you would watch it to the end of the video, and yeah, let's unpack this. Before we get started, I ask that you please subscribe to this channel, that you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any more of our content, and that you give us a like. Share the video with your friends, your apologetics groups, your church, whoever it is. I would love to get this channel going. And if you watch to the end and you like what you're seeing, or if you don't like what you're seeing, then please leave a comment. I would love to respond to it. Jumping into this, I want to break this whole thing down. I want to explain exactly why I believe, not as any denomination, but as somebody who has actually read the Word, why I believe that the two witnesses in the book of Revelation are in fact two separate groups of people, and opposed to the norm that is taught in the churches, that it is going to be Elijah or Moses or Enoch or Paul or Peter or any of those other people, and why I don't believe it's them. So, right off the bat, I want to start with the book of Revelation, and we will break this whole thing down, and I will explain why I feel the way that I feel, and we can just get started. Revelations 1:20 says, in the ESV, "As for the mystery of the 7 stars that you saw in my right hand, and the 7 golden lampstands, the 7 stars are the angels of the 7 churches, and the 7 lampstands are the 7 churches." Okay? So that's one of the first things that we need to look at to establish what the original message was. So where do we find the original message? The original message comes out of the book of Zechariah, and we see it starts out in Zechariah 4:2 and 3. So let's break this down. "And he said to me, 'What do you see?' And I said, 'I see, and behold, a lampstand all of gold, with a bowl on top of it, and the 7 lamps on it, with 7 lips on each of the lamps that are on the top of it. And there are 2 olive trees by it, one on the right of the bowl, and the other on its left." We zoom past a little bit to Zechariah 4:11 through 14, where it says this, "Then I said to him, 'What are those 2 olive trees on the right and the left of the lampstand?' And a second time I answered and said to him, 'What are those 2 branches of the olive tree, which are beside the 2 golden pipes from which the golden oil is poured out?' He said to me, 'Do you not know what these are?' I said, 'No, my Lord.' Then he said, 'These are the 2 anointed ones, who stand by the Lord of the whole earth." Okay, so we have established from the book of Zechariah, which I don't think anybody is contesting, that The 2 olive trees in the book of Zechariah are referring to 2 separate entities, and the lampstand is referring to the church, and the 7 pipes of the lampstand are referring to the 7 churches, all tied to one base. Now, all throughout the Bible, which is the reference I was originally talking about in the last video, God refers to the people, his people, as the olive trees. We see this throughout the Old Testament, and we see it throughout the New Testament, and it's all different people. If we go into the book of Jeremiah, which it's Jeremiah 11:16 in the ESV, the Lord once called you a green olive tree, beautiful with good fruit. But with the roar of a great tempest, he will set fire to it, and its branches will be consumed. In the book of Jeremiah, he is referring to the people of Israel and their connection to what was going on during the time that Babylon sacked Israel. Or took the Hebrew people into captivity in Babylon for 70 years. So what he is saying is that the people of Israel were a great olive tree, and that he is going to break them off and consume them with his fire. If we look at Romans 11:17 through 24, it gives you a broader picture. This is a longer verse, so bear with me. But if some of the branches were broken off, and you, although a wild olive shoot, were grafted in among the others, and now share in the nourishing root of the olive tree, do not be arrogant towards the branches. If you are, remember it is not you who support the root, but the root that supports you. Then you will say, branches were broken off so that I might be grafted in. That is true. They were broken off because of their unbelief, but you stand fast through faith. So do not become proud, but fear. For if God did not spare the natural branches, neither will he spare you. Note then the kindness and the severity of God. Severity towards those who have fallen, but God's kindness to you, provided you continue in his kindness. Otherwise you too will be cut off. And even they, if they do not continue in their unbelief, will be grafted in. For God has the power to graft them in again. For if you were cut from what is by nature a wild olive tree, and grafted contrary to nature into a cultivated olive tree, how much more will these, the natural branches, be grafted back into their own olive tree? So it's not talking about one specific person. You see that Paul is literally describing the Gentiles becoming part of the olive tree, and that the Jews who do not want to believe in the Messiah being cut off, yet God is willing to take them and graft them back in to the olive tree. This is very, very important, because when we look at the book of Revelation, we realize that it is referring to a larger picture. So what caused the church in a whole to believe that the olive trees were in fact Elijah and Moses? Well, it's because of the miracles and the things that the 2 olive trees are capable of doing. Revelations 11:3 in the ESV, and it says, "And I will grant authority to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1,260 days, clothed in sackcloth." So the idea that we're going to take this completely literal, they're going to be dressed in sackcloth. No, sackcloth refers to humbleness. So they will be preaching humbly to the people. That's what it's trying to say. And that they will be prophesying for 1,260 days. The book of Revelation also talks about the fact that they will not be hurt. during this period of time, the 2 olive trees. It says in Revelations 11:5 and 6, and if anyone would harm them, fire pours from their mouth and consumes their foes. If anyone would harm them, this is how he is doomed to be killed. They have the power to shut the sky, that no rain may fall during the days of their prophesying, and they have the power over the waters to turn them into blood, and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they desire. Okay? This actually goes into implicatory prayer. If you're not aware of what that is, implicatory prayer is the process of praying for curses to be put upon the enemies of God. Cursing demons, cursing those who are not God's children, stuff like that. It's controversial, but it is throughout the whole Bible, even to the point that Paul does it. Jesus did it. Jesus used implicatory prayer on a fig tree. But if you look at what the book of Revelation says, is that these people would be able to do what Moses and Elijah did. That is where the church got confused when it came to who the witnesses would be, because they automatically assumed that, oh, okay, well, they're going to be able to drop plagues. That's what Moses did. That they'd be able to shut up the sky. That's what Elijah did. So I can see how the confusion would happen, but we can see throughout the New Testament the different verses that refer to olive trees. From the book of Luke, when it says in the ESV, Luke 13:9, it says, "Then if it should bear fruit next year, well and good. But if not, you can cut it down." Again, talking about people of the body, either they're going to be producing good fruit for the body, or they're going to be cut out of the body. That's important to understand. These different things that they talk about throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament are very symbolic of plants, but they're literally referring to the body in a whole. So let's look at Jesus, right? Because Jesus said in John 15:1 and 2, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, and it may bear more fruit." So the people who are truly doing his work are going to grow fruit from this work. If the book of Revelations was going to talk about Moses and Elijah returning, then we can imagine that 2 of the greatest prophets in all of the Old Testament would not have been overlooked by John in Patmos. He would have used their names. He did this with Jesus when he talks about Jesus' glorified body. He goes into all of the details. We know he's talking about Jesus because he's talking about Jesus throughout the whole thing. In Revelations 22, he refers to being the Alpha and the Omega. He refers to being the root of David. So we know that when they talk about who the Lamb is who will return in the time of Revelation, that they are referring to Jesus. There's not a question about that, but there's a question about the legitimacy of this situation with Moses and Elijah. The point that I was making in my previous video, and the point that I'm making right now, is that there is going to be something that is going to happen, chapter 11, and go down to verses 7 through 10, where it talks about the 2 witnesses being killed. In closing, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I want to ask that you please subscribe and hit the notification bell if you like what you are seeing. We can continue with this topic. Thank you guys.